In this video, I want to talk about how anyone can easily get started with low content book publishing without any experience or graphic design skills whatsoever. Welcome to my channel. My name is Caroline and I make videos to help you master your mindset and make money online so that you can build a life you love. Publishing low content books is one of the easiest business models to get into because it is very beginner friendly. Today I'm going to show you a tool that anyone can use to start creating and publishing low content books. But first of all, because this video is for those of you who are beginners and may have never even heard of this business model before, what exactly is low content publishing? Low content books are basically books that have little to no content in them. And I mean content in terms of words to read in them. Normally you purchase a book with a story in it or with some sort of information in it that you read, and this is a high content book. Low content books are things like notebooks, journals, logbooks, diaries and planners, and even things like coloring books and activity books. They have very little actual content in them, and it's up to the customer to fill them in according to whatever type of book that it is. And you're probably thinking, yeah, right, like there is actual money to be made with notebooks and journals. Well, do you write to-do lists or grocery lists, or do you use a journal at all, or do you use a planner or a diary to schedule out your time or your day? I know personally I use all of these things on a daily basis, and I know that when I go to my local bookstore, the section for things like notebooks and journals is absolutely massive, and I know that there are stores out there dedicated just to selling stationery items like notebooks and like journals. And this is why I say that it is a very easy business model to start with, and it is extremely beginner friendly because you can start with making books like notebooks and journals, which are basically just lined pages in a book. And these are physical books that I'm talking about, actual books the customer receives. I'm not talking about ebooks or Kindle books. These are paperback or hardcover books that get printed out and sent to the customer. You basically just need to make a cover for the book, but don't worry, I will be showing you how quickly and easily that you can do that with the tool I mentioned earlier. And that tool is BookBolt. And if you have seen any of my previous videos, I have talked about BookBolt in quite a lot of my videos, but I've never really gone into depth on how useful this tool is and how a beginner, somebody new to this business model, can use it to their advantage. And so that's what I want to go through today. Go through the BookBolt tool, show you everything that it has to offer and how you can use it to your advantage if you are a beginner or if you have no graphic design experience and don't have the time or don't want to learn a professional graphic design program like Adobe Photoshop. And what is really great about BookBolt is that it was created specifically for low content book publishing. As always, there is a link to BookBolt in the description of this video, and there is also a discount code if you do want to use BookBolt where you will get 20% off the lifetime of your subscription. So what I'm going to be showing you in this video is how to find what is popular and already selling on Amazon, how to create the interior, so the inside pages of your book, and also how to create the cover for your book, and then how to upload it into your Amazon KDP account. And now just to back up a little bit on something I mentioned earlier. So I mentioned that these are physical books that you are making for people, and you might be worried that you are going to be having to buy these books, have them printed, purchase them in bulk, and then store them at your house or wherever you work from, and then be mailing out these books to customers when you get an order. But you do not need to worry because KDP is a print-on-demand service, which means that when your book goes up for sale on Amazon, it doesn't get printed until somebody actually buys it. And when someone does buy your book, Amazon will take care of the printing. They will then package that book up and mail it out to the customer, and they will also take care of any customer service. So you do not deal with the customer whatsoever in that transaction. All you do is create the books. So let's get into it. So this is the main BookBolt website, and to log in you just head on over to this menu in the top right hand corner and log in. And once you have created an account with BookBolt, this is the dashboard that you land on once you have logged in. So you can see over here on the left hand side we have their menu. They have tutorials, products, seller, cloud, book scout, favorites, keywords, KDP categories, KDP spy. And I'll be going through most of those throughout this tutorial and how you can use them. The one that you see me using the most, and I've talked about in many of my other videos, is this cloud feature. I use this a lot to just get niche ideas, but what this is great for as well is to see what is selling right now and what is popular right now on Amazon. Why does that matter? Because you want to know where the demand is, what it is the customers on Amazon want, and what they're buying. Niche research is probably the most important part of the self-publishing process, and you can get very in-depth into niche research. I'm not going to go too in-depth into it in this video. This is a tutorial basically on using BookBolt, and I have other videos on this, and there are lots of other YouTube channels that go into niche research that you can watch if you do want to get into that topic further. For this video, I just want to show you how to use BookBolt to start that niche research process. So let's get started with the Cloud tool. What the Cloud tool does, as I said, is it will tell you what is popular, what is trending, and what is selling on Amazon right now. So the options that you have to choose from are you can search by the bestsellers, top 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. If you are interested in a specific type of book, we can drill down here. Notebook, journal, music sheets, calendar, planners, coloring book, activity books, puzzle books. These are all low content books. Then you can choose a BSR range. BSR is the bestseller rank. Every book or pretty much every product on Amazon has a bestseller rank, and the bestseller rank determines the popularity of a product on Amazon, and it starts at 1 and goes up to millions because there are millions of products on Amazon. The closer you are to that number 1 spot, the more you are selling. So the lower the BSR, the better. You want your books to have as low a BSR as you possibly can get, because the lower that BSR, the more you're selling. So personally, I generally like to drop this down to more around the 200 to 250,000 mark, because I feel like anything above that, you're probably not really selling anything. It would just be a random sale here or there, maybe once a month or twice a month or something like that. And I want to find books that are selling more than that. So you can leave that to whatever you want. I generally drop it a bit. I don't adjust the price range, and I don't usually add keywords if I'm just sort of starting that niche research process and I'm not really sure what I'm looking for at this point. And again, as this is a tutorial for beginners, let's just start with something basic, and I'm going to look at creating a notebook or a journal. So I'm just going to search for notebooks first, and I just want to see what is selling in notebooks and journals. So this is where you'll see what's popular on Amazon right now, and the information that BookBolt pulls is all underneath each thumbnail of the book. So we've got the title, who the author or publisher, well, who the author is, that's the person who created it. The publisher will always say independently published, because these are all books that are published by Amazon. When you see a listing and it says independently published, that means it is a self-publisher and they are printing their books through Amazon KDP. It shows you the reviews and how many ratings. We go through the publication date, the price the book's selling for, the bestseller rank, and how many books that it is estimated to be selling every month. So this book, a plain notebook with a SHIT, I can't remember, title, is estimated to be selling around 650 copies per month. Now, a couple of sketchbooks have come up, which is not what I'm interested in looking at today, but if we keep scrolling, we've got some graph paper notebooks, another book with the same title. Try not to copy other books. You'll see it a lot on Amazon though, but try to come up with something unique or different or your own design. We've just got these plain kind of notebooks with some animal prints, some that might be aimed a little bit more at kids, although a lot of adults do like this sort of bright, colourful design too. We've got a unicorn composition notebook for kids. That one's for grades kindergarten to 2. Engineering notebook. This one here is for internet login and passwords, a book to note all of those down. This one's a Japanese writing practice notebook. So when you put in notebook, you can see how many actual different variations of a notebook that there is. There are more than just a lined notebook. There's another plain black notebook, very simple design, as you can see. As I said, you don't need to have any kind of graphic design experience to make books that still sell. This particular one here, it's a larger sized one, 8.5 by 11. It says here published on CreateSpace. That's what KDP was before it became KDP. It was on CreateSpace. So if you also see CreateSpace, that is also a self-published book. This one here, it's got a bestseller rank of 10,615 at this point, and it's selling approximately 390 copies per month. So you can get a lot of really great information pulled in from this cloud tool to see what's trending, what's selling at the moment. And the idea is just to create something that might fit in with these niches, these categories, see what's selling, and don't copy what's selling, but don't reinvent the wheel either, is sort of my philosophy. I still try to make something unique and a little bit different to what's already out there. It can be very hard with notebooks because notebooks are just very plain. And sometimes the more simple the better when I'm talking about cover design and things like that, but don't blatantly go out and just copy other people's designs and covers. Now, basically, once I have completed all my niche research and I've decided on what kind of book I'm going to create, I'm going to do just that. So what you do is you can click over here on the left and choose create, or you can click over here on your name on the right, and it brings down another menu, and what you want to do is select Book Bolt Designer, and this is where you are going to create your book ready to upload onto Amazon KDP. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is create the interior, because I want to show you how easy that this is. Now, Book Bolt has a huge range of pre-made interiors that you can use, so you don't have to have any kind of specialized program. You don't have to make these pages from scratch. So we're going to start with the interior. Now, personally, I like notebooks to be 6 by 9 inches. Some people make their notebooks at 8.5 by 11. That is totally your preference. I would suggest going through the niche that you want to get into and seeing which size is selling better and go with that one. I feel, in my opinion, that 6 by 9s are a little bit more popular, and like I say, personally I like 6 by 9 myself, so I'm going to go with a 6 by 9 inch book. And generally notebooks are usually around 100 to 120 pages. I have heard that 108 is the magic number. I don't know how true that is. I'm not sure whether that is the most popular, but 100, 110, go with whatever you want there in the page count. And you have the choice of no bleed or bleed. What this means is whether you want there to be a white border or a white margin between the edge of your lines on your notebook and the edge of the page. If you want your lines to go all the way to the end of the page, you need to include bleed, and if you don't want your lines to go all the way to the end of the page, you select no bleed. One other thing to mention just about the page count. So when you put in a page count of 108 pages, it's not 108 pages in terms of 108 sheets of paper. When they say pages, that's a double-sided sheet of paper. So when you select 108 pages, it means there's going to be 54 sheets of paper inside the book when it actually gets printed. It gets printed on both sides, which equals to 108 pages. I hope that makes sense. So we are generating the template, 6 by 9, 108 pages, and these are all the templates that you get to choose from. So you can make any of these types of books. You can create bill trackers, monthly to-do list, mood trackers. You can create more different types of notebooks, composition notebooks, music sheets, blank music sheets, birthday reminders. So there's all these different interiors that you can use to create books to publish on Amazon. Calendars, there's the graph paper. We saw a few graph paper notebooks in the cloud feature, but I'm just going to start with a plain lined notebook. So then we want to download that interior. It downloads as a PDF, which is what is required to upload into your Amazon account. And that is it. I have just created a 108 page notebook ready to upload to Amazon. That was it. And that was in the space of not even a minute. And I was even talking through that as I did it. So if you were just doing this yourself, that's it. You've got your notebook interior. You can use that interior on as many notebooks as you want now. You don't even have to keep going in and creating the same interior. You just download that to your computer and you can use that interior as many times as you want. So now we want to create our cover. So So we're going to create our cover, again 6 by 9 inch. We are having white interior paper, not color. Color tends to get a little bit pricey to print when you are doing low content books because they have a lot of pages in them. So generally you won't find low content books published through KDP in color. The printing costs just get too high. And again, you want to pop in the page count here. The reason you want to do that is because the cover size will change the more pages that are in the book. So if you leave that page count as 24 as it had there, you will have problems uploading your book because the cover will be too small to fit the amount of pages that you have in your book. So make sure you put in the correct page count here, even though it's only for your cover. And we submit, and we are getting the template now for the cover. So this is the template now to create your cover. There are lots of different options that you have here on how you can design it. If you just want the cover to be a plain color, you can just select whatever color that you want it to be. If you want to have a pattern, you can use BookBolt resources here. So let's just type in pattern. Say you're just looking for a particular type of pattern. You might want to use this lemon pattern. So you just click on it and it will bring the image over onto your cover page. These are copyright free images, so you are allowed to use them on your design. Now, the way that the template is set up, on the right hand side here, this is your front cover. The left hand side is your back cover. So this template is the whole cover that wraps around the whole book. So front cover here, this is the spine, and this is the back cover. Don't put anything down here on the bottom right hand corner of the back cover because that's reserved for the barcode. This peachy, pinky kind of color on the edge, that's sort of the trim. So you want to keep anything you want people to see, like the title, text and stuff like that, you want it in the white or the gray area here. So you might want to just use the images within the BookBolt software. There's 2 that I've just pulled, and I've made one for the front cover, one for the back cover. Just sort of match them up there so it looks seamless, and so you can't tell that that's 2 images that I've just mashed together. It just looks like one image. Or if you don't want to use the images in the BookBolt software, you can upload your own. I took this image from a stock photography website. If you do take images from stock image websites, make sure that the license agreement allows you to use them for print on demand or for books. And I'm just going to place that there. Now for this one, I'm not so worried that the spots don't fully match up because I'm going to put a spine on the book. So I'm going to go down here to shapes, and there's all different shapes that you can choose from here that you can use if you want to on your design. And I'm just going to pop a square here. And I'm going to make it long. And I'm going to make it a bit thinner and put it over here. And so my notebook is going to have a black spine on it. I do want to have the title on the book as well, so you can have your title on the cover or you can have it on the spine if the spine is big enough. But I'm just going to pop it over here on the front of the book, and I'm just going to spread that along a bit, make sure it's as centered as I can get it. And then we can pop to text because we want to pop some text in. And again, BookBolt comes with fonts that you are able to use in your designs if you want to use them. There is more here that you can choose from. You can see there's 1,000 more fonts to choose from if you want, or if you've got your own one that you want to use, you can upload your own font. But basically I might just click on this Oswald font, drag it over here on top of my little black box. And I'm just going to call mine journal. Those other animal print ones that I looked at were called notebooks. So just to be a little bit different, I'm going to call it a journal. And again, just try and center that. And I want my font to be white so it stands out. That's not quite centered. Okay, that looks pretty centered to me, and that is basically it. That is a cover made. Just a nice background, nice pattern, some text, and a spine, which you don't even have to put on there. And that is it. You can see how that only took a few minutes, and I was still talking through what I was doing, the different things that you can use to design your book, so you can see how quick you can get through making a cover if I wasn't sitting here talking and showing you how to do it. It can be done in just a few minutes. And so then we want to download this as well, and once it's ready to be downloaded, you will have a PDF ready, Amazon ready, the way that Amazon like it to be created, to go into your Amazon KDP account. And so there, your design is ready to download. And like I say, that is a PDF ready to upload onto Amazon. Okay, so now we have our downloaded files. We are now ready to upload our book to Amazon. This is where you land when you log into your KDP account. And we have the option of Kindle, ebook, paperback, and hardcover. Like I say, we are going to be doing a paperback because we are creating physical books that people have in their hands to write on. So the first page is all about the book itself, the title, description, and things like that. So first we enter in our title. The title should contain keywords that customers are searching for and also describe what your book is exactly. Your title has to be on the cover or the spine of your book, and you cannot enter anything in this field that is not written on your book. So, for example, I can't put a book title of Animal Print Journal because I didn't write Animal Print Journal on the actual book to give it that title. So my title just has to be journal because that's what I put on the cover of my book. Now we have a subtitle here. It's optional. You don't have to add it in, but this is where you can explain a bit further what your book is about. It doesn't have to be on the cover. Amazon does have rules though on what you can and can't put in the subtitle. So you can't repeat words, especially words that are already in the title. You can't keyword stuff, so you can't just put random keywords in there trying to reach certain customers. And you don't need to enter any information that can be found in the sales page later on. So things like the page count or the book size and things like that, you do not need to enter that. But the subtitle could be used, for example. I'm just going to have a look at this animal print notebook, which is, I think, the one that came up on the cloud feature. So we've got notebook because that's what's written on the front of their book. This colon now represents that the rest of the wording is the subtitle. Now, I know I said not to put things in like the sizing and things like that. Some people do it, but Amazon guidelines do say not to do that. So I prefer to just go by the guidelines. And so this is what their subtitle is. Leopard Print Composition Notebook. So in terms of my subtitle, if I really wanted to put one in there, I could put Animal Print something or other. You would want to do a bit of research into what your subtitle is going to be. So like I say, KDP does have a page with all their guidelines on them, so you should familiarize yourself with them to make sure your book, 1, gets approved, and 2, doesn't cause any issues later on with your account. Just because a book gets approved doesn't mean that it can get reviewed again later on and you can get your books pulled from the marketplace, or you can even get your account terminated or deactivated if they feel that you are not following their guidelines. So make sure you follow the guidelines so that you don't have any issues later on. Now, we are not creating a series, so we don't need to fill that out. We also don't have edition numbers. And here is where you pop in the author name, so who created the book. I generally just like to use a person's name. You can use your own name or you can create a pen name. It's totally up to you. You can have as many pen names as you want. You don't need to use the same name every single time. So you might just pop in whatever your name is or pen name is, Joe Blogs. If you have contributors, add them there, but generally you won't. We then pop in a description. Now, there's no need to go crazy with keywords in the description because the description is not indexed by Amazon. That means what words you put in the description do not get pulled into search results when customers are searching on Amazon. So don't need to put lots of keywords in your description. The description is indexed by Google though, so if you do want to make it Google SEO friendly, you can do that so that you may get chances of being in Google search results when someone's searching for something. But generally, just use the description to talk about your book, what it is, the features, how it's going to help the customer. So you just enter your description here. I would recommend going through books on Amazon, the best-selling ones, and see how they format and write their descriptions so you can get an idea of what people like to read in a description to help you sell your book. Then we click that we own the copyright, because the interior and the cover and all the images and everything we've used in BookBolt are copyright free, so it is our book once we've created it. And then we have to pop in some keywords, or you don't have to, this is optional, but this can help get your book found when people are searching for certain books. So these keyword slots, they're really important. They help customers find your books, but you also need to be careful with keywords because you can't use trademarked words or names. You can't use people's names that are not yours, and your keywords need to be relevant to your book. Now, BookBolt has a tool for that too. So let's go back to BookBolt, and we go down here to the keywords tool, and we click search, and we pop in the keywords. So this is going to be very high level because I'm just popping in journal, but generally you would put in what your niche is. So if you were doing a gratitude journal, if you were doing a dream journal, pop in dream journal, and it will give you more keywords a little bit more specific to the niche that you're going into. But you can see here it brings up a list of keywords. It gives you the Amazon search volume as well as the Google search volume, and sort of what kind of competition there is, if there is any. And there's also some frequent keywords over here as well. Basically what you do is you spend quite a bit of time going through the keywords, doing your keyword research, and coming up with the keywords that you want to put in those 7 slots. And so then you would basically copy and paste, or take those keywords and pop them in. So I'm just taking this one as an example, but you would basically pop your different keywords into these slots. And obviously they wouldn't be the exact same keywords in every slot like I'm doing. I'm just going for the sake of time for this video. So once you've done your keywords, we now lastly have to set up some categories, or select the categories we want our books to be in. During this setup process, you can select up to 2 categories, and there are lots to choose from. We've got fiction, we'll be going into the non-fiction section, and within non-fiction there's a whole lot of stuff to choose from. So how do you know what categories to select? Now again, BookBolt has a tool for that, and if we click on here, we go to KDP Categories Finder. Again, let's pop in journal, and it will give us suggestions on a good place to put it. So we've got literary collections, diaries and journals, juvenile nonfiction, journal writing, nonfiction, journalism. It's probably not so much that, but let's go literary collections, diaries and journals. And then because we can select 2, we'll go to journal writing. So juvenile nonfiction, language and arts, journal writing. And so there's my 2 categories that I have selected. And does this book contain anything inappropriate for children under 18? No, it doesn't. And then we go on to the next page. So that is all the information entered for the sales page. Now we go through basically the upload process. So unless you want to sell your book in other places other than Amazon or Amazon's distributors, you will need to supply your own ISBN. 99% of us will be using the free ISBN from KDP, so just get your free ISBN. We don't worry about the publication date because we want it to go up immediately. We need to select our interior, so we're doing the black and white interior with white paper. We are creating a 6x9 inch book, and you can choose from matte or glossy in terms of your cover finish. And this is just personal preference and what you think your customers want. I personally like matte, and so I'll leave it at matte. And so here's where we can upload our book. So we've got upload paperback manuscript. This is your interior. So this is the lined pages that we created, the first PDF. And then we go to the book cover, and we want to upload a cover that we already have, a print ready PDF. So we go to here, we want to upload our cover file, and it will upload our cover file. Now the next thing that you need to do is launch previewer. You cannot move forward to the next step without selecting launch previewer, where we get to look at the book and how it's going to be laid out and make sure everything is where it needs to be to print out correctly. And so in this print previewer, you will get to flick through the pages and make sure everything is within the trim lines that you want it to be. It will also tell you if there are any issues. So this is saying that Print Previewer didn't find any issues. If there was something wrong with the sizing, if this print viewer picked up that there was text going outside the trim lines and things like that, it will tell you what the problem is and that you need to fix any issues before moving forward. And so then from there you click approve if you are all happy to go ahead with that. And we can now move on to the next page, which is pricing your book. So how do we know what to price our book? In my personal opinion, you don't want to price too high or too low when you're comparing with your competitors. It can be tempting to price low to get sales, but actually the cheapest book isn't always the most popular. The cheapest products also have a perceived low quality, and not everyone wants that cheap and nasty option, and that's sort of the perception that comes with cheap items. But you also don't want to be too high, because with things like notebooks or journals, there's no real way to make that book that unique that it warrants a higher price than the rest. So what do? So again, we can go over to Book Bolt, and if we go down to the products tool, we can pop in journal, notebook, whatever it is, and we can look at the other books and what their pricing is. So we can see here in journals overall, we can see that the lowest priced journal is $3.94, the highest priced journal is $21.99, and on average journals are being priced at $8.70. So that'll give you an idea of your niche, what the pricing is. Your other option is just basically go onto Amazon, search for notebook or journal or whatever it is that you're making, and have a look and see what people are pricing their books at. And I would pick something that is in line with what everybody else is doing. Now basically we go through here, we add on our pricing. Let's say I'm going to price my book at $7.99. That means I'm going to receive a $2.64 royalty. That's what I'm going to get in my pocket when I sell a book. So we get 60% of the sale price and the rest goes to Amazon. Now that might not seem like a lot. You've made a book, you're selling it for $7.99 and you only get $2.64, and a lot of people say, well, that's so wrong, that is hardly anything. You have to think of it like this. All you're doing is designing and creating a book. You are taking advantage of Amazon's massive customer base. You are taking advantage of Amazon doing all the printing for you, doing all the shipping and mailing for you, and taking care of all the customer service for you. So that's what you're paying them for. You're paying them for access to their customers and access to their printing and customer services. So when you think of it like that, I don't think a $2.64 royalty is that bad, when all you really need to do is design and create covers. Now this little tick box here is expanded distribution. That means Amazon can distribute your book to other retailers. You get paid for that, don't worry, you still get paid, except not all books are available for expanded distribution. So even though I can tick it here, it will come off later, because notebooks and generally books that have repeated pages like notebooks and journals are not eligible for expanded distribution. So you just need to focus on this royalty here, and then it will automatically price your books for all the other Amazon marketplaces. So your book is not only going to be sold on the US marketplace, it's going to be sold on every other Amazon marketplace that low content books are available for. And then we click publish and your book goes into review. Amazon double checks that everything in your book and the listing is within their guidelines, and they say they will approve or not approve your book within 72 hours. In my experience, it almost always takes longer, sometimes up to a week. If there are any issues with your book when they go through the review process, they will tell you, and they will ask you to change whatever that issue is, and you can resubmit the book. And once it is approved, your book is available for sale on the Amazon marketplace. So you can see how quick and easy that was to do, and I was talking through it as I was doing a tutorial, so you can imagine how much quicker it would be if I hadn't been sitting here talking through the process of creating and uploading that book. And the more books that you create, the quicker that you'll get at it and the better that you'll get at it. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there is a coupon code in the description below for you to get 20% off BookBolt if you want to use it. I hope this tutorial has helped you out if you had been wanting to get into low content books but just didn't know where to start, or if you have been looking for a business model that is quite easy to get into and start making books with. I also hope that you're able to see how useful a real all-rounder type of tool like BookBolt is and how beginner friendly it is. And over time, as you create more books and you get more experience and you get better at the bookmaking process, you can move into more detailed books or even move into different niches, perhaps like activity books or puzzle books or log books, all of which that you can create with the BookBolt tool. If you did like this video and would like more tutorials like this, please let me know by giving the video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.